Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about Vedic astrology and how astrologers are able to predict your future or what happened in the past or what will happen if you do certain things and how the next few years are going to be for you, how your current time is, and what you should do um, just by the information of your time of birth, place of birth, and your date of birth. Okay, so don't confuse this with Western astrology because this is Vedic astrology. All right. So let's see how astrologers can do that. So, firstly, Vedic astrologers, have texts from thousands of years ago from different astrologers, which means they know the nature of how sun will behave or some other planet will behave. It's in a certain house. Okay. Now, what are houses and what are signs? I think pretty much everyone knows what signs are, like Aries, Gemini, Leo. These are all zodiac signs, and that's the same signs that are used. Okay. Because those are the different parts of the sky that the sky has been divided into for astrology. Right. And then the astrology has 12 different houses. Okay. So, how an astrologer looks at a chart and predicts is he's aware if sun is in a certain house, what is the nature of that house, what is the nature of sun in that house, and what is the nature of sun in that sign, because every house will have a certain sign. For example, if you are an Aries ascendant, then your first house will be Aries. Okay. And your second house will be Taurus, and your third house will be Gemini. So if sun is in your first house, so which means an astrologer reads your chart as sun in the first house in Aries. So he needs to know what are the characteristics of sun, what are the characteristics of the first house, and what are the characteristics of Aries. Combine these three things together and then tell you about your personality, because first house is about personality. Okay. And then sun is also the significator of your soul and your father, so maybe your father has something to do with your personality. Okay. And then also is aware of the sign Aries. So this is how it works. When you go deeper, you can also look at nakshatras, and for accurate predictions one needs to know about nakshatras or constellations. Okay. Which means if sun is in Aries, sun is sitting in a particular constellation, it's in a particular nakshatra. Okay. And you can go further deeper, which means the nakshatras have certain padas which are about 3 degrees and few minutes each. So each nakshatra is about 13 degrees 20 minutes, and there are 4 different padas, which means a nakshatra is again divided into 4 smaller parts. So an experienced astrologer, if he wants deep insight of a certain thing in your chart, will look at your sun in the first house as sun in the first house in the sign of Leo in Purva Falguni Pada 2. Okay. Right. So it gets quite complicated, which is why it takes years and years to master astrology. It may not take you very long to read about all the 27 nakshatras, which is again quite time consuming, because knowing about nakshatras and applying that in a Vedic chart are 2 different things. So the question arises, how do astrologers know about the characteristics of planets or houses, right? Which means, what makes moon the significator of the mother or the mind? What makes Saturn the significator of structure, discipline, organization, and patience? Okay, who decides these things? So this is decided by thousands of years of case study. Okay, I'll give you a simple example. Okay, so back in the day, we used to have kings, right? So kings were usually of, we can make a very simple classification of kings. Now, either the kings were successful, popular, great kings, or they were not so successful and their reign did not last for too long, right? But the fact that remained the same in both these situations was they were definitely kings, successful or not. Okay. So the astrologers knew their time of birth and they made a Vedic chart out of maybe 200 different kings. And then they realized that certain combinations are there in those charts. So that is what became the Raj Yoga, so called a planetary period which the kings have. Okay. And that trickle downs in today's Raj Yogas, which means you can't be king. You can't be king now because that system isn't there in Kali Yoga. All right. But if you have people running errands for you, if you have someone who drives you to work or someone who you can just call and he or she just gets your things done, you probably have some kind of a Raj Yoga going on for you. Okay. Doesn't mean that you'll be king and you'll have a throne and you'll have a crown and you'll be sitting and you can just say go bring water and food. No, that's not going to happen. So the things change. We need to understand yogas and certain planetary periods in today's day and time, right? So I hope this answers your question about how astrologers know certain things. So, for example, there are some planets which have been categorized to cause a lot of anger. Okay. And that can be looked up in a chart. So, the modern procedures of sampling and case studies was done by our ancient saints thousands of years ago, right? So if you have Mars and Rahu together in a certain combination, especially in certain houses, probably the first house and the 10th house, you could be very aggressive and you could have anger issues. Okay. Or if you have Saturn in a certain placement, you would have this particular issue. So all these things astrologers know because are the texts from thousands of years ago have trickled down with the same characteristics. Now let's consider how Aishwarya Rai or Angelina Jolie, right? They're both known for being really beautiful women of the world, right? They would have certain combinations where their first house, which is the house of their face and their personality, has something to do with the planet that is associated with beauty, like Venus or Moon. Okay, and you would notice that in most Vedic charts that you look at the charts of celebrities or who are in the film industry or are known for being very good looking. Okay, because again, beauty and good looks are very subjective. Someone you find good looking may not be good looking for other people. Okay, but so called, if the world calls them good looking, I'm talking about those people. Okay, so they will have certain combinations in their chart where planets of beauty will be associated with their first house. Okay, so this was my video about how planets are read by astrologers, how astrologers study charts, and take my word for it, it's very, very complicated and it takes years and years of practice to master and give an accurate prediction. Okay, so if you're interested to know about these things, please subscribe to my channel. I'll be talking about these things very often in my videos. Also visit my website www.swamisaptaparni.com if you need a consultation or if you need counseling about certain issues you're having in life. I'll be happy to talk to you. You have a very nice day and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.